Hi, my name is Arayana Janson, and I'm soon to graduate with a bachelor's degree in business administration from the Hayworth College of Business at WMU, with majors in integrated supply management and business analytics, as well as minors in economics and accountancy. My signature pathway is sustainability, and my signature experience is as a CO2 valuation and tracking emissary, which is all about building level carbon dioxide emissions tracking on campus. As the Carbon Valuation Chair for Citizens Climate Lobby WMU, or CCL WMU, my volunteer work for the past year has been centered around gaining support from deans, faculty, students, and staff here at Western for improving the availability of emissions and energy use data from building submeters on campus. This fiscal year, the university has transitioned to a decentralized budget model, partly for the sake of budgeting transparency, in which deans are billed a square footage-based utility charge. Deans, facilities management, and others are interested in gaining even more transparency into the itemization within this utility charge calculation. That's where CCL-WMU's proposal for a grad assistant and a corresponding pilot study intersects with my work in helping to establish a carbon emissions tracking system. Making strategic decisions on energy use reduction methods on campus can be difficult without the information from building steam and electricity submeters. In constructing a grad assistant role that is focused on mapping the available data and identifying or repairing the level of communication between meters and meter tracking systems, we're hoping to acquire a data set on energy use in standalone colleges. This data set would be applied in an initial pilot study on competitive incentives and/or behavioral changes amongst participating college deans. Ultimately, the work will hopefully culminate in the creation of a data infrastructure that tracks energy use reductions, which are to be achieved with the help of a leaderboard display tool on colleges' monthly utility bills. I've made an example of this leaderboard display based on steam and electricity submeter data that was acquired through a Freedom of Information Act request. The initial pilot study that CCL-WMU is proposing, besides offering utility budget transparency to WMU leadership, will most likely result in reduced energy costs and therefore emissions. A similar pilot study done previously at Yale showed that a university dean, given only the information on how their college is doing on energy use when compared to other colleges, will reduce emissions by 7.4% on average. Around the time that I joined CCL-WMU members in their mission to bring carbon tracking to campus, I was enrolled in a machine learning class, during which my group mates and I attempted to build a model that could predict CO2 emissions by campus building. It was through this class project that I later became the facilities management energy admin intern, which is when I started to map the data pathways that will ultimately provide our carbon emissions data set. The sustainability pathway is appropriate for me because I'm interested in continuing to volunteer in technology that can track emissions reductions or sustainability efforts, such as blockchain technology. My environmental economics and statistics coursework have empowered me with the understanding that a tangible difference may be made in emissions reductions should we embrace the process of putting a dollar value on an economic externality like CO2 emissions, and should we define sustainability efforts in measurable terms. As a former farm girl, a lifelong nature lover, and one of the first students to have been allowed into any UN Framework Convention on Climate Change conference, I've been following the carbon credit topic for quite a while. I believe that putting a price on carbon dioxide is the most sustainable way to incentivize competition or innovation that reduces CO2 emissions and gets us closer to the social optimal. It has been incredible to learn how science and technology can help define the parameters of emissions reduction, especially at a research and service learning-based institution like ours. Given my data analytics background and future, this process has been a rewarding firsthand experience of data quality and integrity issues, and a project for which I'm grateful to have helped design. The work has also offered tremendous opportunity for opening meaningful conversations with leadership across the university on a potential and shared vision of how to effectively reduce carbon emissions on campus. With its continued efforts to coordinate interdepartmentally, CCL-WMU intends to eventually expand the project into total accountability for campus CO2 emissions. Our hope is to make the future for WMU students more sustainable and therefore more purposeful. Thank you for taking the time to hear about my signature sustainability experience at WMU.